afternoon, everybody. My name is Oliver Westmoreland. I am an OSC, or actually IAA, registered level 3 immigration advisor, and I am senior immigration lawyer with GSN Immigration. Please subscribe to our YouTube channel and click on the bell icon so that you can continue to watch our extremely interesting videos about UK visa and immigration advice. Today's topic is sponsor licenses. Sponsor license revocation. What can you do? Can you do anything? Probably a lot of you watching are sponsor license holders, or you're thinking of being, you might be. You want to know about this. Sponsor license scheme, it's like this. People want to come and work in the UK in skilled jobs of one sort or another, such as a skilled worker, senior specialist worker, scale-up worker, this, that and the other, all kinds of these skilled type jobs, specialist type of jobs. The way that things are these days, it's like this. This system's been going for a few years now, so we know what it's like pretty much. The employer in the UK has to apply to the Home Office for a sponsor licence. And there are different types of sponsor licences. Now, sponsor licence is not some sort of certificate that you keep in your office. Sponsor licence is an internet thing, a virtual thing. It exists on the internet somewhere. It can exist physically, but it doesn't have to. It's an internet-y concept, you might say. Employer, different types of sponsor licences for different types of people, including lots of different categories, temporary workers, all kinds, pretty much. Brexit has happened now. If you want to come in the UK and work, being European is not enough. You've got to be something. You could be European, but you've got to have something different from being European. Skilled worker is the main category. Other categories as well. UK expansion worker visa. You run a company outside the UK. You'd like to establish a branch in the UK. You can do that with the UK expansion worker visa. All these different things, they have certain things in common. In every single case, the employer, the firm, has to hold a relevant type of sponsor licence. If they get that, this is quite a difficult application. We do it actually. It's quite a difficult application. It can go wrong quite easily. Many firms specialise. I mean, we don't specialise, but we do it. Many firms specialise. Many things can go wrong, quite complicated application. You successfully get it. You hold the license somewhere on the internet. You have SMS, this is nothing to do with text messages. You have a sponsor management system. You, the boss, the authorising officer, the person in the firm, you run and control the sponsor license operation. You can have people working under you and with you, but you're the boss. It's all very official. There are loads and loads of rules, things you have to sign up to get the sponsor licence successfully. If you do, well and good. It allows you to, let me say this carefully, to try and sponsor workers. To try. You issue a thing called a COS, Certificate of Sponsorship, yet another internet-y creation, virtual document. You issue this. It has all things about the proposed worker and about the job and everything. It has a unique reference number. The lucky worker who's been selected receives this. Two-stage process. The worker has to make a visa application. Could be from inside the UK or outside the UK, depending on circumstances. The the proposed worker, has to make a visa application. Inside UK, outside UK. They must quote this unique reference number that the COS has. Everything goes well, they're granted the visa, and then they can work for that firm. It's a very limited, controlled process. As I said, there are loads and loads and loads and loads of rules which should be understood by whoever applied for the sponsor licence. There are pages of them, honestly, really. But you get the licence. Home Office say, oh, well, you understand the rules. And they say this is something quite frightening. Sponsorship is a privilege, not a right. Really? It's a privilege for which you pay loads and loads of money. You pay for a privilege. It's not really a privilege. I think it is a right, actually. This is legal nonsense that you get from the Home Office. It reminds me of the old days. Mrs. Thatcher you're too young to remember her report. She said, state benefits are not a right, they're a privilege. And I thought, really? Okay. So there's this bit of nonsense you get from the Home Office. Believe you pay lots of money. You pay for a sponsorship application. Your friends pay for their visa applications. You pay immigration skills charge. You pay for everything. Don't listen to this nonsense. But anyway, there you go. You are successful. You get your sponsor license of whatever type it is. Different types, as I say. Things can go wrong at any stage. I mean, I think probably usually they don't, but things can go wrong at any stage. Home Office, they tell us straight, you may lose your sponsor license if you do not meet your responsibilities as an employer. Okay. If some of your employees are not complying with anything, with their conditions of leave, they don't turn up for work, they leave, God forbid, they get sacked. You change the nature of your business, or your business is involved in a takeover or a merger. Anything like this, you have to tell the Home Office sharpishly, within good time. If you don't, you could be in big trouble. Home Office has published a whole list of all the causes and reasons why they can revoke or suspend a sponsor license. This is not any sort of idle threat, as we know from experience. We have clients, they have had their sponsor license revoked, which means exactly what it says. Some Home Office, they are merciless. They don't care. There are so many rules. The Home Office holds all the cards. The Home Office knows all the rules. You, the poor authorising officer, who probably a very busy young person, you can't do everything at once. You can't keep your eye on everything like that. It happens quite frequently. Firm loses, has their sponsor revoked. Sometimes it's a bit less severe, but sometimes the revocation actually happens because of one thing that you've done wrong. Case that I know recently, firm changed its ownership without realising I had to tell the Home Office. That was it. Say, sorry, you can't have any more costs. That was it. It wasn't a revocation, but it might be. This case, if you look at our blogs, I'm sure every normal person does. Very interesting recent case. Taiji Trading Express Limited, up in the north of England, somewhere near Hull. This was apparently petrol station and shop. Had sponsor license, everything was fine. Now this business was situated in Hull in northern England. The boss, the manager, Mr. Reganathan, he was also the SMS level 1 user. He was in control of, in charge of the operation, sponsorship operation. He was the boss. Probably this was a small organisation. He's probably doing it all by himself, pretty much. He issued a cost for Mr. Sivalingam to be a manager of the petrol station. Now, what he didn't disclose, unfortunately, Mr. Sivalingam was his brother-in-law. Now, this is against the rules. It's against the rules not to disclose it. So he submitted this cost application. Home Office are very harsh and hard. That they actually revoked the sponsor license just on that basis. So that was that. Now, the thing was, there's no right of appeal here. There's no right of administrative review. The only way forward is judicial review, which is a strange and clunky process. In this case, before the High Court. Upper Tribunal wouldn't come into it. It would be the High Court, which is it's quite a challenge to take a case before the High Court. If you lose, you could lose a lot of money. You've got to be quite brave and determined. But anyway, he did. He or his lawyers thought the decision was unlawful or unfair. He said in his submissions that it had been a proper recruitment process. Now, what lies behind this thing about the Home Office and relatives, which, not surprising, I said, if it's a close relative, it's probably fake. It's probably dishonest. Which I suppose is fair to a certain level. He said, no, it wasn't dishonest. He was a good candidate. He'd been properly interviewed. There'd been a proper recruitment process. He admitted he'd made a mistake. He didn't follow the rule, didn't know the rule, which is very, very possible. You know, you're a busy person. You're running a business. You've got 500 rules to follow. Very possible that you don't know the rules, or maybe you knew them but you forgot them since you learnt the first time. Home Office don't really care about this because they say, well, the rules are the rules, and Home Office they look at these rules all day and every day, and to them it's normal stuff. To a business person, difficult to keep your eye on the ball, difficult to remember everything at the time. Anyway, he was strong and brave enough. He went to the High Court. Interesting. If more people went to the High Court, maybe they could win, because he said that he'd been pretty much accused of dishonesty, pretty much. So you'd employed a family member, you spent a family member, looks a bit dodgy to us, you may be a bit dodgy. You know, he'd been implicitly accused of dishonesty. He'd never had a chance to make any representations. It just sort of went ahead. The revocation went ahead. Got to the High Court. His lawyers said that, they would, wouldn't they? High Court, actually I thought that was a good argument, a weighty argument. And this comes up in judicial review frequently, especially recently in the last few months, it would appear. You're accused of something bad, you were never given any chance to address those issues. You were never given a chance to justify yourself. Decision was made, that's it. High Court, very, very interesting indeed. When these cases get before High Court or judicially reviewing court, they think this is generally wrong. You're accused of something bad. Maybe you should at least be given a chance to justify, just a chance. I mean, maybe it'd be rubbish, but at least you should be given a chance. Case like this, he wasn't given any chance. I think it's a pretty strong theme in judicial review. And in the last few months, we've seen several cases like this. You're accused of something bad or dishonest, you should be given at least a chance to make representations to justify yourself. Maybe good or bad, but at least you'd be given a chance. He wasn't given the chance. Also, quite funny, the High Court looked very carefully at the decision, at the, I quoted, scant reason, i.e. not much reason. This is very, very, very interesting. Home Office, it makes the rules. It's not even rules, it's policy. Home Office makes the policy. They can do what they want with it. In most cases, people don't go to judicial review to challenge these decisions. There is no other way. And say, oh, we can do what we like. You see the difference in culture between the Home Office and a proper court, High Court, highly educated, legally educated judges. They look through meticulously in depth and detail. One of the things that comes up sometimes here, and as in this case, the Home Office doesn't follow its own internal policies. It doesn't follow its own policy guide. Now, people like you know, when the Home Office publishes a policy on it, it's a promise. Pretty much they can be held to it. Pretty much. The law says that. You know that, don't you? Home Office, they don't seem to know as much as they could or they might. Court was thoroughly unimpressed with the reasoning, Home Office. It comes up, a lot of cases recently, and it comes up for years in my career experience. Home Office don't read their own policy guidance. They don't know their own policy guidance. And you say, do you know your policy? I say, oh, what is this? What is it? Mr. Shah, you're laughing, but it's absolutely true. I've done asylum interviews. It's just like that. They're not. They don't know their own policy guidance. Certainly, they don't seem to be terribly well legally educated. Anyway, the force of the argument was so strong against the Home Office. Poor decision making. He wasn't given the chance. The decision, the revocation decision, was overturned, quashed by the High Court. So it just shows. Not everyone's going to fight in the High Court. I mean, sometimes judiciary could be in the upper tribunal, but not everyone's going to do it. It's very surprising, sometimes. The courts are sympathetic to migrants. They have rights, have the right to be treated fairly. So I'm not saying that you should go to the High Court. It happens, but if your sponsor license is revoked, you think it's unfair, there may be a way out of the problem. I can't say more than that, but if you get stuck in this sort of situation, we can give you at least basic and general advice. It's a complex topic, Mr. Shah. Do you have any questions?
Just a few questions, please. So we understand the Home Office can revoke a license once they've granted it.
Yes.
And one of the reasons you've mentioned that they use in this, situation where somebody tried to sponsor their relative and the company lost a license.
Yes.
I
don't blame the Home Office for having that rule, but the rule has to be operated fairly.
Sure. What are some other similar sort of situations where the Home Office can revoke the license?
A case I saw recently, the company changes its ownership and doesn't tell the Home Office. That could result in revocation, or something less.
Change of directorship, etc.
Share ownership, perhaps. Also, if the Home Office, if the firm is not reporting things about their employees, they leave, they get the sack, they don't report anything. Eventually, the Home Office loses the patience. Look, you're not following the conditions. Now, there are some things which are more deeply serious than other things. Home Office has a huge list, hierarchy. Some things it looks like it's going to be revocation, nothing else. Sometimes suspension. Things I want to say something else. Just going slightly off the point. If there is employee of a sponsoring firm has their license revoked, they lose their visas, pretty much. Now, if they've got time left on their visa, they might get 60 days notice of that. Some people don't have 60 days left. It doesn't just affect the employer, it affects the employees as well. Now, of course, you get civilian casualties. They didn't do anything wrong. That they were just said this is something that it's of great concern to us, people trying to look after people. Employers mess it up, maybe because there's too much for them to know at one time. But employees, they get severely punished for things that are not really their fault.
Sure. And these policies and these rules, they keep changing as well.
Change quite a bit now and again, but it's not just that they change, it's just that if you're running a company, you have the authorising office, this is the head person. Sometimes he's the only person, there's nobody else doing it, a very small company. Not just that they have to be aware of changes, they have to be aware of it all the time. They might read the rules one day a couple of years ago. You're not going to remember that easily, are you? You need to keep your eye on the ball, keep reminding yourself, probably why it's sometimes not always good to be the sole person. This authorising officer can be the sole person. Not always a good idea. You might want to get someone to assist you. Keep an eye on it. Have a level 1 user. Keep an eye on things. Make sure things are going well. Someone who can focus on that rather than run the company generally.
True.
I've seen so many cases. People say, "Oh, I didn't know," or "I've forgotten." Well, it's only natural, but there are so many rules to remember.
True. I mean, the law firms or the lawyer, if the company has, can also become,
yes.
Their level.
But some firms don't want to pay a lawyer. They'll think, I can do it myself. I'm clever. Probably they are clever, but then they're doing all the other jobs as well.
True. And if they don't want to have a lawyer, maybe they have the authorizing officer could be a senior employee of the company. It doesn't have to necessarily be the boss of the company.
No, he could be a senior person, not the boss necessarily.
Great. So they do have some sort of help available if they want to take advantage of that.
Look, there are different things. I mean, when I say the author is the boss, it doesn't have to be the managing director. He could just be a senior person. But the important element of that is that it's someone who concentrates and thinks about that, maybe not every day, but on a regular sort, but keeps their eye on the whole thing. And they should be looking at their SMS, and they should be getting messages and keeping in touch generally.
Great. As you mentioned, losing a license means, the business can't sponsor anymore.
It messes the whole thing up, really.
And the employees lose the visa as well.
Employees lose their visa, might have to go back home. probably the firm needs those people because they wouldn't have paid all those fees for sponsor license and everything.
True.
Probably it needs those people, valuable people who've worked there for maybe years and years. It's really going to mess things up at really big time. We talked about judicial review, but these things take time. It's not something you can do in a couple of days. It takes time.
The employee may have lost the visa, and they may have to leave the UK by the time the judicial review is underway.
The whole scheme is very, very strict. Visas, you become an overstayer, that's the end of it. Employee becomes an overstayer, they cannot work. The employer cannot let them work. They'll be breaking the law. Pretty much, unless they can find some other route, like another job or something, new visa, they're just going to go back home or go somewhere, because then they can become overstayer. They become an overstayer, that means the firm might not be able to take them back at some point in the future. If you become an overstayer for more than 30 days, you are seriously punished with their grounds for refusal. So it messes everyone's life up pretty much. Also, you can imagine some employers, they've got families and they set up a home and everything, and it can mess up their life really big time. And in most cases, not their fault.
True. Well, thank you so much for diving into this complex issue and giving us so much useful information.
My pleasure.
We will see you in the next one.
See you next time. Goodbye, everybody.